GPS.
Chapter 10. Crazy Glue. Even while we stray, Hashem sticks with us. The Nesiv Shalom says, Yehudi mechuyev lahamin, ki HaKadosh Baruch Hu bachar bani mikol am, v'shoichen itam, afilu b'soich tumasam. A Yid must believe that Hashem chose us to be His nation, and He remains with us, even while we are spiritually contaminated. Hashem will always carry you, even while you sin against His wishes. Jewish law states that a person may not move a stone on Shabbos, and the Medrash asks, if your child is holding a stone, can you pick up the child, thereby effectively moving the stone? You're allowed to pick up your child, but you're not allowed to pick up a stone. So if your child is holding the stone, are you allowed to lift him up? The law is derived from an amazing concept. The Medrash answers, Midar hamidbar ata loimed, sha'akadosh baruch hu noisam ba'midbar kaviyachol, kasha yisa ish es benoi, v'hoisa avodah zara biyadam. We know that Hashem carried Klal Yisrael through the desert just as a father carries his son, even though they were still holding idols in their arms. So too, one may carry a child on Shabbos, even though the child is holding something that is prohibited because it is muktzah. Now hang on a minute. While Hashem carried us and cared for us as we traveled through a barren desert, we were holding what? That is absolutely incredible. Just think about what we just experienced with our own eyes. 1. We openly saw the Yad Hashem, the hand of God, smite our Egyptian rulers with the awesome makas, plagues, that mocked the Egyptians and proved that Hashem controls every facet of the world. 2. We actually saw that Hashem created magical heavenly clouds to protect us from the Egyptian army chasing us in hot pursuit, and we witnessed with our own eyes how these heavenly clouds absorbed the arrows being shot at us by the Egyptian marksmen while we crouched, defenseless and powerless. 3. We saw the Amod Eish, pillar of fire, appear out of nowhere and escort us through the desolate desert like a heavenly navigation system, while also clearing the path of all dangerous scorpions, snakes, and animals. And finally, point number 4. Then we again witnessed the hand of God as we walked in shock through an actual sea that was standing upright, while we experienced the stunning miracle of water standing and forming walls reaching the sky, carrying within them fresh fruit for mothers to give their children. This is just a small sampling of the many amazing miracles that Chazal revealed to us. But then it gets even better. The Medrash teaches us, V'chein at moitze k'she'avru b'yam, tzalmu shel micha oiver imohem, u'v'chol kach lo hinicham HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Listen carefully. Even while Hashem openly revealed His love and compassion to us as never before and split the sea for us, some of us still could not abandon our worthless idols that did absolutely nothing to redeem us from slavery and protect us from harm. They actually went through the sea, watching all of the miracles of God, carrying their worthless idols. This goes against common sense. But even more remarkable is that although we were still clinging to our stupidity and nonsense, Hashem did not present us with an ultimatum and say, okay guys, here's the deal. If you drop the idol nonsense, then, I'll save you. But if not, well, I sure hope you're good swimmers. On the contrary, Hashem showed us that He is willing to break the rules of nature in order to save His precious children through supernatural means, even while we acted like small-minded ingrates. A side note to parents. When dealing with rebellious children, if you respond to their rebelliousness by fighting with them or constantly pestering them to become better, you are in danger of possibly alienating them and adding fuel to their rebellion. Many times, the anger and frustration that kids feel after their parents respond to their initial rebelliousness does a lot more damage to the child than anything that he was even doing wrong. If you walk in the footsteps of Hashem, You learn to respond in the opposite manner. The more the child rebels, the more the child needs to feel your love and affection. You must continue to draw him closer and closer while adding more attributes of mercy and patience onto yourself. Just as Hashem carried us through the sea, showing us his beautiful love that he has for each and every one of us while we were spitting in his face and actually carrying idols. You must do the same, and you must do this while carrying the shame and burden of their rebellion completely on your own shoulders. Getting back to our subject, listen up, because it's about to get even better. The Heilige Kedushas Levi says, angels are intrinsically holier than Klal Yisrael. However, Hashem Yisbarach mara ahavasoi la'am Yisrael va'oyhev es Yisrael, oz Yisrael heim lemala mikol malachim maila. When Hashem shows his great love that he has for every single Jew, it proves that really Klal Yisrael is even higher than the angels above. The Kedushas Levi continues, V'hine be'ez kriyas Yamsuf, Hera HaKadosh Baruch Hu ahavasoi liYisrael, v'hayu Yisrael lemala mikol hamalachim. Specifically at Kriyas Yamsuf, Hashem showed that he loves us even more than he does all of the heavenly angels. So let's put this all together. During the actual Kriyas Yamsuf, there were some Jews that were actually carrying idols in their hands. And yet, of all times, it was at this very moment that Hashem showed that he loves us even more than he loves perfect heavenly angels. Wow! Now please ask yourself, are you more spiteful and rebellious than someone clinging to his idols even while Hashem is openly revealing himself and miraculously saving him from certain death? Of course not, and the Gemara says, Riboin ha'elamim, Master of the universe, Gali v'yadua lefanecha, sheretzaynenu, lases retzaynai. Umi ma'akiv, sa'ar shebe'isa, the Yetzahara, v'shibud malchis. When we sin, it is only because we are too weak to overpower our animalistic desires after 2,000 years in the cold darkness of our exile. Authentic Yiddishkeit believes, if while we clung to worthless idols, Hashem still loved us even more than he loved perfect heavenly angels who never sin or mess up, then he certainly loves each and every one of us, regardless of what sins we are currently doing. For our actions never affect our true relationship with Hashem. This incredible revelation should cause your heart to overflow with joy. Tears of happiness should be flowing from your eyes, and you should dance in the streets. Now you have proof that Hashem really does love you. So how should you feel after you fall and succumb to temptation? The Nesiv Shalom says, Shegam la'achar achet lo yargish Yehudi sheniya menutak me Hashem Yisbarach. After you sin, you should never feel that you are cut off, separated, or unwanted by Hashem. So what exactly happens when you sin and go against the will of Hashem time after time, over and over again? Does he get sick of you and move away from you? Well, I think by now, hopefully you know, that the answer is no, not at all. But if you still have some more time, let's use an example to help us internalize this concept.
Let's bring an example to prove the point.
Shua and Yankel. Shua was walking with his friend Yankel on 13th Avenue, and they got into a terrible argument. Shua became so enraged that he stormed away and walked to 12th Avenue. After Shua's anger subsided, he wanted to patch things up. Here are 3 possible scenarios. 1. As Shua walked away, Yankel, also infuriated at his friend, turned and walked away in the opposite direction from Shua. So Yankel is now on 14th Avenue. So in order to make up with Yankel, Shua must now travel 2 avenues to find him, because Shua walked to 12th Avenue and Yankel walked to 14th Avenue. Option 2. Although Shua stormed away, Yankel remained where Shua left him and waited for him to return. So all Shua now has to do, in order to reconnect with Yankel, is simply walk back to 13th Avenue, where he turned away from his friend. Option 3. As Shua stormed away from Yankel, Yankel exercised extreme patience and followed behind him. He stood behind Shua, anxiously waiting for him to turn around, so that way they could patch things up right then and there, without Shua having to journey back to find Yankel. As soon as Shua turned around, Yankel was standing right there, right next to him, waiting for him with open arms. One of the biggest misconceptions about our relationship with Hashem is the idea that when you sin, rebel, or otherwise disengage from feeling close to Him, Hashem also purposely moves away from you, as described in scenario number 1. However, we hope by now you realize that Hashem, creator of the universe, does not walk away from you just because you faced a challenge that you did not overcome. This may bring you to think that the correct answer is scenario number 2, and now you envision Hashem waiting right where you left Him. This is a more mature understanding of your Creator. He's not vengeful, yet He's firm and steadfast, and if you distance yourself from Him, well, now it's up to you to work your way back to where you left Him, and He will then graciously accept you with open arms. Beautiful. However, it's not correct. This does not properly demonstrate the deep feelings of our loving Father. The real truth is that with each step that you take to move away from Hashem, He takes one as well, but in the same direction as you. He follows right behind you, just as in scenario number 3, patiently waiting for you to turn around and embrace Him. The Nesiv Shalom brings down from Rav Moshe Mikobrin, Yehudi she'einu mesugel lehischazek v'lamed betfila afilu acharei she'avar es ha'avera hachamura b'yoser loidarchu raglav al mifton hayadus. Even after transgressing an extremely immoral sin, if you feel that Hashem does not want to hear your prayers and you've lost your connection to Him, then you do not comprehend what your relationship with Hashem is all about. And you should go back to page 1 of this book. The Nesiv Shalom says, Yehudi mechuyev lahamin ki af la'achar she'avar ha'avera hachamura b'yoser she'batoira. HaKadosh Baruch Hu mekabel an chosoi b'tzarech liyos mesugol lishboich levavai gam oz noichach pnei Hashem. You must believe in your heart, in the depths of your being, that even if you did the worst possible sin ever, Hashem is ready and willing to accept you back into His embrace. Therefore, even when you find yourself in such a low situation, you should be ready and willing to pour your heart out to Him. Yehudi she'einu mamin she'HaKadosh Baruch Hu nimtza v'shoichin im Yisrael b'chol ha'matzavim ve'af b'soich tumasam harei hu gam kein apikoris. The Bas Ayin says that a Jew who does not believe that Hashem is found dwelling with us in every situation that we end up in, wherever we are, wherever we go, and even in the depths of sin, then that Jew is also an apikoris. You can never end up in a situation where you blew it and now there is no way to return and no way to be close to Hashem. Never, because Hashem never leaves your side. Authentic Yiddishkeit understands that the unbreakable, unconditional love that Hashem has for each and every one of us is precisely as we described in scenario number 3. For those who got it right, please give yourself a round of applause. Hashem has been following behind you every step, even as you descended into the depths of sin, and He is standing behind you right now, anxiously waiting for you to just turn around and feel close to Him once again. The Sefer Gan Hadassim brings down from Yecheskel Shinava, Me'olam hayakashalei pirush hapasuk to'isi kaseh oived, do hayitzarech lichtov kaseh nevad. When David HaMelech says in Tehillim, I have strayed like a lost sheep, the word oived means that the sheep lost its way and doesn't know where its owner is. However, it really should have said nevad, meaning I have strayed like a sheep that is actually lost from its owner.
Let's bring an example to prove the point.
Never lost. A young sheep wandered off from the flock. After a while, the sheep realized that it couldn't find its way back, and it felt lost and all alone. The shepherd, watching from the top of the mountain, saw exactly where the young sheep was. He protected it from the wolves with his long-range rifle and eventually helped it return to the flock. This sheep was not actually lost, because the shepherd knew where it was and was protecting it. But the sheep felt lost, since it could not see the shepherd. And the Shineva explained, V'zeu kavonas hakosov, to'isi mimcha kaviyachol kese oived, asher ovad es haroyeh, kach anu shoichim Hashem yizbarach, aval ein anu avudim chas v'shalom, mi'ito yizbarach. Ki hu mashkiach aleinu tamid. Now we can fully appreciate the message. David HaMelech is saying, I feel that I've lost my way, and I cannot feel you in my life. This is how we feel when we forget Hashem. But we are never truly lost from Hashem, since He is always keeping a watchful eye on us. So even if you sin, and even if you continue to sin, and even if you're falling further and further and further away from the way that you want to be, all you need to do is just turn around and smile, because Hashem is right there waiting for you.